Thank you for sending 3 common mistakes young achievers make on their resumes that keep them from getting an interview. Your time is valuable, and choosing to spend some of that time now with Career Locator to work on your career development and on your resume. My name is Wynn Bumgardner, and I'm the owner of CareerLocator.com. As a successful career coach with lots of experience working with young achievers in job search and career satisfaction, I'm looking forward to working with you today. Doubts for this session that you can download or review as needed. Toward the end of the program today, I'll offer you bonuses for your ongoing engagement with us in the resume development process. Mine is to help you to bring your best work to the world. We have dynamic content to cover, so get started. You are a powerful generation. Skills and additional qualities you bring to the workplace and your numbers. You're the largest generation in the workforce today, 53.5 million of you in the U.S. You're the social generation. You're very adept with social media, social networking, and social learning. You're hyper-connected of all generations. You are always on. You aren't bad multitaskers. Show that you have multiple priorities for the type of company for whom you'd like to work. Expression is very important to you. You want to be heard in the workplace. You have creativity and innovation. You want to use that work to bring positive changes to your employers. Balance is very important to you, and you want that to continue throughout your work life. Work is also very important. Many of you will want to work with companies that are socially conscious and environmentally responsible. Challenge in the workforce and change. You want challenging assignments at work, challenging projects, and when you come up with good ideas, you want to be able to put those into effect at your workplace. You have teams all of your life. You're very good at working on teams, and you want that to continue. You're also excellent at networking, and because you're so adept at networking and with social media, you're expected to bring many positive changes to your employers through marketing and more. Employee-centered, fun workplace. Very interested in you, and they are spending lots of time and money to attract you and to recruit you into their organizations. Position for management opportunities earlier in your career than any other generation before you, because you need to position yourself well by now and in the future that you will be considered for these positions and competitive for them. Choice of employers, both now and in the future. Put yourself well from the beginning of your career so that you can take advantage of these opportunities as they come your way. Your resumes are one of the positioning tools you have. Very well presented on paper, and this will serve you well throughout your career with both your resume and with other printed materials. The first resume mistake that young achievers make on their resume is with formatting. Formatting is basically how your resume looks. Your resume will be reviewed initially in 8 to 30 seconds. So within that 8 to 30 second initial pass, the recruiter or the hiring manager is going to review your resume to determine if he or she wants to spend more time on that resume. In that first 8 to 30 second time period, the recruiter is looking for length, font, and consistency in your format. If you've been in the workplace less than 10 years, one page is sufficient for your resume. If you've been working 10 years or more, your resume can be 2 pages long. You can use a single font on your resume. Also pick one that is very reasonable. You want your resume to be consistent. You want it to be visually appealing, easy to read, and inviting for the recruiter or hiring manager to look at. Get 2 sample resumes and how they are formatted so that you will have a clear idea of what hiring managers and recruiters are seeing on resumes that come across their desk. Jake Jobseeker has Xbox for Life at .com as his address. This is considered unprofessional. Also, under his profile, he has to get a job, and he has an emoticon next to it. We know that he wants to get a job, or he wouldn't be submitting his resume. And emoticon is also considered unprofessional on a resume. Skills, he has his skills lined up in columns. Notice that critical thinking and data entry are offset. They need to be lined up with the other bullets in column. And notice that copy editing is in 9 caps. All of his skills need to be presented in the same format as capital letters. Under work experience, Jake has 3 employers listed. He has Cinemark 12, Home Depot, John's Pizza. Location of each job, in this case Houston, Texas, needs to be lined up next to the employer. The way Jake has positioned these on his resume now, they are spread out all over the page. It would be more consistent in format if he would put the dates that he worked at each employer justified on the right-hand side of the margin. Also, if you look at his job titles, he has box office associate, customer service specialist. They are not listed in the same way on each employer. Customer service specialist is listed in italics, bolded, and he's also misspelled cashier. With these bullets, he's used 3 different formats on his bullets. For sell tickets, another for product help, and the third one for restocked and cooking stations. Under received, delivery, and pickup orders, this should be at, because it's a job that he formerly did. In addition, the letter N is in lowercase. It should be all caps. He has misspelled the name of the school that he went to under Jackrabbit High School. Example is called Rockin' Resume. In this case, Jake has gone back and redone his resume to make it give him more consideration with hiring managers. It gives a solid resume presentation. The content and appearance is clear and concise, is easy to read, and it is visually appealing. In the format, content, and appearance, this applicant has a great chance to be contacted for an interview. Let's look at the differences in the Rockin' Resume. Format number 2, the Rockin' Resume, what we have is a professional email address, jakejobseeker@email.com. He has put together a well-thought-out profile. He starts out by saying he's a committed professional with a strong focus on excellent customer service. He also sells his leadership skills with his noted ability to exceed management expectations. So right away, the hiring manager is going to pay additional attention to Jake's resume. His are visually appealing. They're lined up in 2 columns. They're all in caps. They're easy to read. And on work experience, he's got the same format consistently throughout. He has 3 employers listed again with the location of the employer next to the name of the company. He's justified his dates of employment there on the right-hand side of the margin. Bullets, all of his bullets are in the same format. And notice that under Box Office Associate, he put transactions of tickets purchased, 98% accuracy rate through 10,000 tickets sold. In this case, Jake has turned his job duty tickets into an accomplishment statement. He's going to pick up on this right away. We're going to talk more about accomplishment statements later on in this program. In his high school, it's at the bottom in the same format as the rest of his information, and his date of graduation is also justified on the right. Again and talk for a few minutes about resumes and the resume format. Format number 1 that we looked at had the unprofessional email address, unprofessional profile. It has that were offset, some without caps, and was scattered. It wasn't all in that. There were mixed capitals and no capitals on job titles. Some of his words were misspelled. Home Depot was inconsistent on the bullet format. Papa John's also had difficulties with consistency of listing, and his education was not well done. He had caps or no caps, and the word school was misspelled. Format number 2, the Rockin' Resume, you saw a professional email address. Note that on that resume, he lists his city without a zip code. This is strategic for larger metropolitan areas. Larger cities, you have employers who only want to hire people who live close to their work. In some cases, there is a genuine reason why that individual needs to live close to the workplace. In many, there are not. So you want to rule yourself in consideration by not including a zip code in your metropolitan area, at least at first. Jay done his profile. It is well done. His skills and competencies look good. His work experience is consistent with format. Has updated his job duties to accomplishment statements, and his education looks well too. It's listed in the same format as work experience. We've looked at resume formatting. We're going to some of the goals and tips for formatting. In cases you want to present yourself professionally, you want a resume to be included in those resumes to move forward for a phone interview or an interview. You want yourself well for a company follow-up, and you definitely want to avoid frustrations with no resume responses. Tips: set resume up for justification on both sides of the page, margins. This is a personal preference. Some managers like to see resumes that are justified because the format appears consistent and the bullets don't appear to fall off the page. However, this is a personal preference and the choice is up to you. Be sure to print out your resume prior to submitting it to check for consistency in fonts, capitals, spacings, and more. The second resume mistake young achievers make on their resume is typos and poor grammar. If you're on the right side of the page, this applicant has put a cover letter with his or her resume and they've misspelled the word way. Instead of W-Y, it's W. It's been corrected and the recruiter is looking at it and is correcting it. This particular applicant had chosen to put, you can look at the second, and that would be Y-O-U-R requirements instead of Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, which is U-R. .com is a free resume and grammar source that indicates there are 5 mistakes per resume. Most of them are in grammar. Resume mistakes will rule you out for further follow-up. Again, think about the hiring manager as having possibly hundreds of resumes come across his or her desk every day. And you want to be well presented on paper, without typos, and without grammar mistakes. Here are resume mistake examples from resumes that were submitted to Monster.com. Ranked as top sales producer for new accounts. Obviously, this applicant meant to say consistently ranked as top sales producer. Resolved customer problems and inquiries. This will be resolved customer problems and inquiries. Planned corporate facility at $3 million over budget. This applicant probably intended to say at $3 million under budget. A party time position with potential for advancement. While many job seekers out there who may want to have a party time position, in this case, the applicant meant to say a part-time position. As the example to give is experienced supervisor, defective with both rookies and seasoned professionals. Obviously, the person meant to say effective with both rookies and seasoned professionals. The world's fastest grammar checker is free. It checks for misspelled words, words that sound alike and have different meanings and uses, and more. Pros and poor grammar goals and tips. Again, our goal is for you to present yourself professionally, tutored for the next step in the hiring process, and to avoid being blocked by further consideration from the hiring authority. Remember, with many resumes to look at, the hiring managers can be very selective, and they want those resumes that are free of typos, errors. Or your resume to rule out typos and poor grammar, spell check. Check more. Note that on the 5 resume mistakes we saw before from Monster.com, none of those were misspelled. They were all words. However, they had used the wrong word in their statement. Next, read, proofread, then proofread again. A friend or a family member proofread your resume after you have proofread it. The reason for this is that we see what we expect to see, not what is necessarily there. One of my clients one time sent out a resume that had as his job title Accounting Manager, M-A-N-G-E-R. It should have been Accounting Manager. He thought he had put Accounting Manager down there and he never caught it. So the resume did go out initially with Accounting Manager on it. Use Grammarly.com, read resume in a different font to pick up any mistakes. For example, you may want to print out your resume in a different font to review it for any mistakes. Then you would change the font back before you send it out. Review your resume from the bottom to the top, also to pick up any other mistakes. That's another trick you can use. Mistake young adults make on their resume is a focus on job duties. Jobs are basically what you do or you did on each job. Examples include customer service, systems administration, account coordination. If working in a warehouse, it could be shipping and receiving or inventory control. Everyone has job duties. And the question to ask here is, why shouldn't I focus on my job duties? Well, the answer to that is, so what? Everyone has them, so just saying what you do on the job is not going to sell yourself in a compelling way to a hiring manager. The job duties don't tell your story. What you have to do is to turn your job duties into accomplishment statements. Find your accomplishment statements is to look at 3 different areas. For example, if you look at the icon at the top of the page with the hand, it'd be reviewing your skills and competencies. These are that you have acquired that your accomplishments could come from. And if you look at the green flag, that represents do something on the job. For example, you may be consistently noted for exceeding management expectations or completing the job ahead of time. Third icon, the star, these special rewards or recognitions you have achieved and been awarded. For example, if you've received a perfect attendance award or best employee of the month, you need to note that on your resume as well. So think about your job duties first to get started on accomplishment statements. So, for example, you can think, what was my job duty? Let's add a job where you clean planes for Continental Airlines. Then think about the actions that you took in cleaning planes for Continental Airlines. About that, you could determine that you clean planes quicker than your supervisor's expectation on a regular basis. So if you did that, think about the results you achieved in cleaning planes for Continental Airlines. And you may determine that you cleaned the planes in 15 minutes of the allotted time that your supervisor gave you to clean the planes. In case of your accomplishment statements, you do want to start your accomplishment statements with an action verb. One of the handouts I've given to you, in addition to the resume samples, is an action verb list. You can use these verbs as for develop your accomplishment statements for your resume. Let's go and talk for a minute more about statements. To write them. Enter your action verb list. To start those accomplishment statements with one of your action verbs. You want to use dollars, numbers, or percentages whenever possible. In this case, the reader's eye will be drawn to these and will focus on these. So in the midst of words on your resume, those numbers and percentages will stand out and seem to leap off the page, so the recruiter or hiring manager's eye will be drawn to those particular statements. So let's look at our statements that we had before. Example, let's say that you put on your resume cleaned planes between flights for Continental Airlines. Why is that important? Basically, a job duty. It's not going to draw a lot of attention because the manager or the recruiter knows what those duties are. All that was that you did the job that you were hired for. They don't know how well you did it. 2, met all deadlines while cleaning planes between flights for Continental Airlines, ensuring on-time boarding for passengers. It's definitely better. You're starting to get the recruiter's attention now because you are describing how well you did the job, not just that you did it. And 3, a 25% reduction in time needed to clean planes between flights for Continental Airlines, decreasing boarding time for passengers by 15%. Wow. I guarantee you that hiring manager or recruiter is going to be interested in the applicant that puts that type of statement on the page as to a job duty or something. Example 2, although it is better, it's not doesn't the impact that the third statement has. So look at the examples we just talked about as if you are reviewing resumes. Want to contact job duty example 1 for your interview. Contact accomplishment example 2 or accomplishment example 3 for your job. Or is you don't want to contact the job duty example because it's just that, a job duty. Tell how well you did it. Accomplishment example 2 for your job. Possibly you've got some interest. What accomplishment example number 3? You definitely want to contact that applicant because he has consistently shown or she has consistently shown how he or she expectations for that job. That's going to get your foot in the door for phone contact or an interview. The two resumes that we looked at before, Don't Waste My Time or Rockin' Resume, which one represents whom the hiring manager will want to interview? They to interview the Rockin' Resume applicant. They've got accomplishment statements. Resume with the accomplishment statement so powerful? It's because it shows time and time again that the applicant exceeded job expectations on job. In each case, has shown on this resume that he performed above and beyond the call of duty. He did the job better than it was expected to be. The manager is interested in the person with the accomplishment statements resume because past behavior predicts future success. If you have consistently shown that you can exceed expectations on previous jobs, you exceed job expectations on your next job, the one that the hiring manager to offer. Statements are the meat and potatoes of your resume. They're the most important part of your resume. Assuming your format is good and you don't have typos and grammatical errors, accomplishment statements will get you in the resume pile of, I want to see this person for an interview. So, important for you to ask yourself at this point, does your current resume have job duties, accomplishment statements of each? If your resume has duties, you want to begin to turn those job duties into accomplishment statements. If it has some accomplishment statements, you have to increase the number of accomplishment statements it has. That gets you a powerful representation of who you are and what you can bring to the job of any resume that you can do. Accomplishments accomplishes the following. You present a strong, solid professional image to the hiring manager. Position yourself well for that hiring manager to contact you for a telephone interview or for a face-to-face in-person interview. Increasing your chances for an interview is the excellent outcome that you want to achieve. You will prepare yourself well for that interview. That's kind of a bonus in itself, because once you have put your resume together in terms of accomplishment statements, you know where you got those dollars, numbers, and percentages, and you are confident that you can present yourself well in terms of the experiences that you had in your current job and or in previous jobs. Look again briefly at what we've covered today. We talked about resume formatting, your resume visual appearance. I've given you 2 sample resume templates and tips for formatting. We've looked at resume typos and misspellings. Some of those typos and misspellings that we've looked at. We've got tips for going forward to eliminate those. Resume job duties and tips. To start on how to turn your job duties into accomplishment statements, you have an action verb list, and you know to use dollars, numbers, and percentages wherever possible. If questions on the presentation, please contact careerlocator.com, and we'll be happy to get with you to answer those. At the program, I discuss bonuses for continuing to engage with us on resume development. Bonuses are coming up. I'd like to tell you a quick story first. The story is called 3 Feet from Gold, and it comes from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Darby caught gold fever in the mid-1800s in the U.S. He went west, staked a claim, and started digging for gold. He worked hard and found gold. Shipping the ore to a smelter, he found out he had one of the richest gold mines in Colorado. Except he kept digging, but the vein of gold disappeared. Discouraged, Darby kept digging without success. He returned home. He sold the gold mine and his equipment to a junk man. The man knew he needed expert guidance. He called in a mining engineer familiar with fault lines. The engineer determined that Darby had stopped digging 3 feet from where the vein of gold ore picked up again. The man continued digging, found the gold vein right where the engineer predicted it would be, and became a millionaire. Darby. Back home, he became a life insurance salesman and ultimately became a millionaire himself. Best insurance salesman in the country. He owed his ongoing success to thinking, stopped 3 feet from gold before, and don't let a no from a customer discourage me from success. On trying. So let's talk about the hopes and dreams that each one of us has. Ask yourself some questions about where you are now. Are stopping 3 feet from gold keeping you from getting what you want? Time and money into receiving expert advice and counsel? Are you discouraged about sending out resumes with no results? Your lack of interviews for open positions? You have a decision to make. At this point in your life, your first apartment. You want a bigger apartment. You want a house. A job out of school. A job. Job satisfaction. And if you could get the following. 5 components of a dynamic resume. Putting together a resume that rocks, a method to discover your accomplishments, include questions to ask to find your accomplishments, a proven quick interview preparation method customized just for you, with a comparable value of $200, handouts, examples, and resources for the webinar, and a guarantee that you have a better resume. The webinar I'm talking about is called Resumes That Rock for Young Achievers. You visit careerlocator.com for available dates and times. This is $79. However, one of the bonuses you get is if you sign up today, you pay $47 for that course, which is valued at $200. If you sign up today, you get an additional bonus, a half-hour resume consultation after the webinar. It is a no-risk guarantee for you. If you don't have a better resume after the webinar and your free resume consultation, you will get a $47 refund. Your steps are sign up for Resumes That Rock for Young Achievers on the website. You can visit careerlocator.com for our offerings. A content-rich website is some items that are for sale. It also has some items that are free for you. top priority is to assist you in your ongoing career success. We've an ongoing professional relationship with you. Please know what additional programs you are interested in attending so we can put those together and offer them for you. And referrals are welcome. To careerlocator.com, go to book online, upcoming events, webinar, pay general attendance fee, and receive your access code. Until then, please your best work to the world.